Happy TEW 2020 release day to everyone out there. As you can see, I have purchased the retail version of the game and excited to dive into it more. If you look from the trial version to the retail release, there have been some significant improvements, I think, that a lot of people would look at based on the interface and all those types of things. But excited to dive into it more and look at some of the other things that are in the game and be able to play more than just, those first couple months that you only get with the trial version. And if you go back to episode 1, you will see why I am starting this AEW game in March of 2021. Just one of those things where it's not really that big a deal. I didn't want to start in January of 20 or February of 20 or March of 20, and just decided since I started with the trial that I was going to start in March of 2021. So that is the starting point for this game. In episode 1, we went through the roster and all that good stuff, but we are officially here with AEW Dynamite for week 1 of March 2021, and we start with the pre-show in what is described as a terrible pre-show match. You had Shida beating Leva Bates at 7:08 with the pinfall. It's good to know here that despite the fact that the game says it was a terrible match, this still is good to know that these two have great chemistry, so that's something we may be able to lean on moving forward with these two in particular, and probably going to be more focused on pushing Shida, try to get her up the card quite a bit, and see if she becomes the eventual AEW Women's Champion. As we move along here, another pre-show match looks a little bit better, not described as terrible. Sammy Guevara against Marco Stunt. This one goes 8-13. Sammy Guevara gets the win with the 6:30. You can see here in the red, this match got knocked for a lack of psychology, but not terrible. Sammy Guevara is someone that probably going to be featured quite a bit in my AEW game based on how much he's really grown on me as a performer and watching AEW, and he certainly has a lot of upside as we move forward. And we wrap up the pre-show with, this is pretty good here. This is actually better than I expected. You have one 6-man tag. You had Best Friends taking on Jimmy Havoc, Kip Sabian, and Jack Evans. Good thing Orange Cassidy is the one that's giving us a boost here, as we can see from all these. Of course, from having a hot new move, the flavor of the month, and a groundswell of public support. So these are all positives, and I have to believe that if we go into this more, and we'll look at some of these as we go along, but Orange Cassidy definitely gave this match a nice boost, and you can tell from this that he had a nice performance here of 76. That is outstanding. And so he was the star of the show, which if you watch AEW, no surprise there, because everyone loves Orange Cassidy. And so he is the star here, and Best Friends get the win here on the pre-show. Now, let's jump into the official show of AEW Dynamite, and I'm very interested to see how some of these turn out, because I really tried to go through and really play the game in terms of all the little intricacies, going through and trying to make sure every single thing was checked so that we didn't miss anything, because remember, we're trying to chase the WWE, and the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we get some pretty high ratings with these shows. So let's see if the first AEW Dynamite show here, can pull a pretty good rating. Let's see if that happens. So we start things off with Jurassic Express against the Dark Order. Dark Order cannot get the win here as Luchasaurus gets the pin on Evil Uno at 7:32. We look at this here, and clearly, you look at the performance ratings, they're all very similar, really. All these guys within 5 or so of each other. We really had 3 that had the same performance rating. Stu Grayson only had 46, but that's okay. Evil Uno and Stu Grayson getting a tag team specialist bonus, and as you can see, there is a storyline note with this one, and we'll get more into that as we move along. You can see who is opposite Jurassic Express when it comes to the storyline here, and you may find that very interesting and a very odd combo, but we'll talk more about that as we move along. We go to the next segment. Britt Baker She hypes the match next week she's going to have with Yuka Sakazaki and 41. I mean, not really expecting a ton from this segment. We have to get Britt Baker over a bit more. I think in this mod, she's not overall that much. We'll look at her popularity a bit as we go throughout, but we've got to get her over a bit more to make her a true AEW Women's Title challenger, and she'll have a match next week with Yuka Sakazaki. So there's that. Got a nice 41 from Dr. Baker there. And the next match, this actually is probably a little bit better than I thought it would be. I didn't really expect it to be a huge, breakthrough match. And I will note, you've got here Jake Hagar, 14:39 with the win over Frankie Kazarian. Why did the match go 14:39? This is one that we added as a technical masterclass because with the AEW product, you have to have 3 different match aims. And this was one of the ones that we added in because Jake Hager, a technician, and also Frankie Kazarian, at least in this mod, is considered a technician as well. So that is actually pretty good. I don't mind that 60 rating between those two. Two guys that will be used a lot in different ways, but a nice 15-minute match there between these two. And the next segment, this was the tease. Earlier, I talked about, we mentioned Jurassic Express, wondering why MJF and Lance Archer were included in that storyline. Well, we're going to find out, apparently, because MJF is currently meeting with Lance Archer's manager, Mr. Jake Roberts. And if we look at this here, looks like the red was all based on announcing, which, hey, when you look at these two, that's good to know because MJF was superb, working without a script, and Jake Roberts, we know, always superb on the promos. But MJF, he has that potential, and clearly comes out of this segment looking excellent. That is good to know because we have quite a plan ahead for MJF and this storyline in particular that he's going to have that it's going to involve Jake Roberts and Lance Archer and the Jurassic Express, which we'll dive more into that as we go along and build towards our next big show. The next one, Lance Archer, speaking of him, he was in action, and clearly that's why MJF and Jake Roberts were ruminating in the back because Archer was in action against Colt Cabana. This is actually really nice, 69 here, nice, right? You get a nice rating for this match, which is probably better than I may have expected it to be. And we see here that one of the reasons why is because Lance Archer in amazing form right now, and hard to disagree with that because this man is on a roll, and not only in AEW in real life, but also in the game. And so this is really good. This is actually better than I thought it would be. So nice to get this rating here for Archer and Colt Cabana. So we move right along. 46 for this next one, which is the Santana and Ortiz promo. I don't really not a whole lot to say about this one, just a generic promo for these two. They are going to be in action next week on AEW Dynamite, so we had to get them on here to hype themselves up a bit and probably throw it around and hype up some of their inner circle members too. But just getting these two guys on the show for a nice promo, so nothing really of note with this one. We move along to the next one. Here we go. Now we're looking here. I like to see that bright green, right? That tells you that it's something good. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, they are hyping their upcoming match with the Lucha Brothers. And no, it is not on this show. And no, it is not next week. We already have our tag team title match set for Double or Nothing, which is still, at this point, a couple months away. But it is going to be Kenny Omega and Hangman Page against the Lucha Brothers for the AEW Tag Team Titles. We already have that set, and you can see here this storyline has begun with this promo, and looks like Hangman Page, if we would have just kept him on script, this may have been a little bit better. But hey, it's okay. He was probably having a cold one and decided to go off strip, and it hurt us a little bit, but we'll take that 78 rating here because, again, he has the hot catchphrase, and he is the flavor of the month, so that helps for sure. So that's a nice start to the segment and the storyline that we're going to have with these two teams here, and that should be a great match at Double or Nothing. All right, to the next one. Lucha Brothers, speaking of them again, they are in action here, trying to build themselves up as they get a win against SCU, which was Christopher Daniels and Scorpio Sky. Looks like Scorpio Sky, not exactly, to the standard of the other guys, but that's okay. We've got to let him, work on his skills and that type of stuff. But we look at this stuff here, 61, not bad at all. This also advances the storyline. Of course, it lost heat based on the last promo that we did because it was a 78 for Kenny and Hangman. But the good news here is that, we look at these two teams in particular, and great chemistry. So you're getting that tag team specialist bonus. So that actually brought the matchup a bit better than it would have been just based on that. So that's good to know. And like we said, we're not really concerned right now about the storyline losing heat here. It's just because these guys are obviously in the storyline with the other two, and we have to keep them active. So Ray Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. getting the win here, and they are building towards their big title match at Double or Nothing with the champs. So we'll take this at 61. A pretty nice match here between these two teams. And we go to the next one. There he is, the champion, Jon Moxley, who is the AEW World Champion here in this game. He improvised well. That's good to know. And once again, just the announcing held us back. So we got to get JR, Excalibur, and Tony Schiavone, as Jericho calls him. We got to get those guys on track here with some of these segments. But no surprise, nice rating for Moxley, cutting a promo as he is looking for his next challenger. So there's a spoiler and sort of a hint, maybe what's to come for Jon Moxley as he awaits his next challenger and the person who will face him at Double or Nothing. Oh, look at this. Kenny Omega and Chima. I did not expect the 77 here from these two. That's actually, I guess you can't, what do you really expect, right? It's a Kenny Omega match. And because, these two pretty good. And remember, look, we're getting a 77 out of this with Chima really off his game. So if he'd have been on his game, this could have been something special here in what was really only a less than 8-minute match. So I'm actually okay with this one. This is actually really good. I did not expect it to be this high of a rating based on that, but it is a Kenny Omega match, so not sure what I was thinking. And remember, because Kenny is in amazing form, and because he's just, an 88 performance as compared to the 43 here of Chima. That's okay, though. We'll take that 77 because we're trying to grow, and this will definitely help us grow. A nice 77 match here, and Kenny continues his excellence with another victory. Wow. Of course. What do you expect, right? Chris Jericho, backstage promo, gets a 100, came out of this looking excellent. Wow, of course I wasn't going to click script, right? We're going to click the script and the check mark for a Jericho promo. There's no chance. I'll never click that. I don't care how long this game goes on, but Jericho will never be scripted. And as you can see, all the red here is just based on the... Now, there's no way. You would have had to have... you probably would have had to have The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin on commentary for this to even be, even with this, I guess, probably, if you consider that Ric Flair, any of those guys. Put all those guys on commentary, then maybe commentary could have kept up with what was essentially a perfect promo, apparently, from Chris Jericho. He has a match next week. We didn't include his opponent in this, but Jericho will be in action next week as he is going to take on Chuck Taylor, best friend. So Jericho in action on next week's Dynamite, and clearly he was very excited about it because he pretty much just, took it on here and delivered a perfect promo from a rating standpoint. So let's move on. And then we have Cody, not quite 100, but I will take a 90 from Cody. Also did not script Cody. And look, he's getting a nice, bump here. And again, the announcing was hold us back. We're not too worried about that, though. No problem at all. And masterful job of improvising and such. So really excited with that number for Cody. That's nice. Really, actually, at this point, really been a good show. Like I'm telling you guys, like I tried to before I started. I said, okay, I'm gonna go through this, and I want to make sure I hit all the dots on some of these. And this has actually been a really good show. Maybe just try to book the same way I booked in some of the former games, just making sure, you check everything off and double check it and all that, which everybody plays different, like I said, but that's just how I do it. Especially for like a game like this, I want to try to get the best rating, and so you have to kind of double check, triple check on some of the angles and the matches to make sure I'm checking everything off and putting the guys in the position that maybe need to be scripted, don't need to be scripted. That's something I used to forget about, and it just knocked the angles. But I think it really knocks you even more maybe in this game. We'll see. And this is actually our main event. Not quite what we wanted, but another nice rating, 69. As Cody defeats Shawn Spears at 15:30 with the pinfall. And, Cody, here we go, gets the benefit of having the public support. Shawn Spears, not particularly great performance here. Only a 46, but this is, you would have liked this number to be a little bit higher. And remember, we look back at the Kenny Omega and Chima match. Maybe that should have been the main event. Look at it from a rating standpoint. But just as a note, Cody, and I know it may be based on when you're watching this, but Cody is the TNT champion in this game. So I have him set as the TNT champion, which brings us to this was not a title match, but Cody in the main event versus Shawn Spears. And since Cody is the TNT champion, somebody wants that TNT title, and we're about to find out who that is. Ooh, now there we go. So Pac, this was a freestyle segment put together. Pac with the post-match attack on Cody. And this is officially setting off their storyline. A really good rating here, 82. I love that because Pac has pretty much made it clear that he wants the TNT title, and he decided to make that known and attack Cody after the main event against Shawn Spears. So that is going to set our Cody and Pac storyline in motion, and a nice rating to start it here with an 82. That match should be a lot of fun, and we'll see when that takes place. But Pac making his presence felt here early on by attacking Cody and making it clear that he wants the TNT title. So there we go. That was, here we go. Like, this is a 72 overall rating, which the reason why it's not going to get as good of a rating, let's see, is because of this. And I pretty much already knew that because I've already booked AEW Dark. And we'll look at the results of that in a second. But I knew I was going to get knocked for this because you have the production levels and all that, and it's worse than at least one Rivals, and we know when you've got WWE and you've got NXT as separate entities in this game, that is something that's going to knock us in terms of our overall rating, and it's just a matter of when do we take those up to the point of a little bit higher. Money-wise, I'll look at that and see. I think we started with, at least in this mod, we started with 12 million. I think was the starting point. So we can probably knock these two up on these here in particular. So we look back at it, and really, you look at it, the Jericho promo, that was obviously the best rating of the evening for this one. The Cody promo, not too far behind it. Our best match was Kenny Omega against Chima. That one really delivered and did really well. I guess if you want to look at the surprise, I think really that Lance Archer Colt Cabana match, 69, actually was probably pretty surprising. I did not expect to get that high of a rating with that one, but it was because Archer is in such great form right now, so we'll take it. And, of course, the big main event angle, I'm fine with the 82 there on Pac attacking Cody. So, really good show. I like the way this show played out, and we tried to fit everyone in. It's obviously nowhere near as hard as doing a WWE show where you've just got, your roster is just so huge. And I think with AEW, there's so many different people that you look at and feel like that, you're able to kind of do it and feel a lot better about not just having a roster that's got 150 people on it. It's a lot easier to maneuver and move around with some of these. So, and that brings us back to the main screen here, and we will look at some of the stuff based on this. And New Japan is splitting with Rev Pro. New Japan splitting with everyone, obviously. ROH split there, and clearly AEW Dynamite. A lot of praise, great show, 3,880 fans for that. And we will go look at AEW Dark. We mentioned that here. I'll show you the results of Dark. Got a 58 rating. Of course, it hasn't been broadcast yet. That'll be the following. You had Chris Statlander defeat Leva Bates. Butcher and the Blade beat Austin Gunn and Joey Janela. SCU defeated Alex Reynolds and John Silver. You had an MJF promo. We're putting MJF on everything. This guy, we're just going to put him on every single episode, every single show, and just let him cut a promo. Right? Why not, right? We had Jurassic Express defeating the Hybrid 2 here. Not a great match, but Matt Hardy had a promo on this one. We'll see Matt here coming up soon. And then Ray Phoenix defeated Christopher Daniels in the main event. 66 overall on that one. So that is AEW Dark. And if we look at our opponents, NXT got a 60. The sellout, 1,500. Who did NXT have in the main events? You had Rhea Ripley against Io Shirai. That was the main event. Finn Balor getting the win in the main event of 64. But there's that. And so NXT gets a 60. We got I think it was a 72, right? Yep, we got a 72, so we'll take it. That is nice for us in AEW Dynamite. We go to our mailbox here. Nyla Rose has had an offer from AEW. Of course, I have a lot of people on my short list. Kushida is relocating to the Great Lakes. I don't know if we'll ever get Kushida, but that's good to know. NXT, this is worth noting, have increased their production values to majestic. So that goes back to what we said about the production values. We'll look at that in a second. AEW Dynamite got a 1.14 rating for the show, and the goals, we already went through those on the previous episode. I think, just as a reminder, we have to get to big. We can't fall below medium. And no comedy, no brawlers, and we can't hire anyone as a high flyer. Good thing we already have a lot of those on the roster. So those are some of the things we have going on there. Let's quickly look at the production point of view here, and let's go to the. I have to remember where to go with this because it's just there. It is. All right. So as you can see, this was the big change with the interface from the trial version to the retail version. This looks so much better. This is fantastic, and it breaks it up a lot better. All right, let's go to production real quick, and we will see where we're at with some of this. So I did already upgrade this, the broadcast quality to cutting edge. We were one below there, and we were still we were on the red there in terms of comparing it to everyone else. And our music upgraded that too to license. So both of those have been upgraded, so we're at least level with our competition right now. But we'll talk about that on the next episode here, and this is where everything is at right now. As you can see, again, I love this. This is such a great improvement from the previous part of this whole thing. So good to see that this is where we are at. We are ranked as the second company in the world. We have $12 million or more, moving right along. We have 79% momentum. That's good to know. 55% prestige. And our next show is AEW Dynamite in 6 days. So thank you guys for watching, and I really enjoy watching all your games. This is, as I said in my episode 1, this really inspired me to do all this and just start my own channel. And I'm enjoying doing it. Hope you guys enjoy watching the game. And anything, any suggestions, anything else you want. I've never done one of these, so just doing it on the fly, winging it. And I'm just enjoying talking about my game here, and I hope you guys are enjoying the game. But thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you want to continue to follow my AEW game. And we'll have some more games coming too here on the channel that won't just be based around AEW. I like to usually sometimes have a couple games going at once. So we'll have another game that we'll fire up here pretty soon as well. So be sure to subscribe, and thank you guys for watching.